This video is brought to you in part by ToyHacks.com. Use the promo code STICKIT06 during the month of June 2023 for 15% off your next order. Using the code supports the channel. Now, on to the show. I'll be the first to admit that I thought Rise of the Beasts was gonna suck hard. A bloated cast, a year's delay for reshoots, and an overall muddied sense of what the movie was even trying to be put a really bad taste in my mouth going into it, and I assume that's true for many other people. But I have to admit it, I was impressed. While the original Bay trilogy holds a very special place in my heart due to nostalgia, and the 2018 Bumblebee film excelled in telling a very character-driven story, Rise of the Beasts was everything I've ever wanted in an ensemble Transformers film. Naturally, a new film means new Studio Series toys, whose line has finally hit its 100th entry. So, who else to fill this illustrious spot than the mascot of the franchise? Welcome to Kit Katastrophe. My name is Kit, and today we'll be taking a look at Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Bumblebee. This figure was released in 2023 as part of Wave 19 of the Deluxe assortment, and represents Bumblebee's appearance in the 2023 film Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Bumblebee transforms into a 1977 Chevrolet Camaro, the very same disguise he took in the 2007 film. Well, almost anyway. It's been modified for off-road usage, what with the bull bar up front, the exterior roll cage framing the windshield, and the overall taller ride height. Looking at him next to the original Studio Series 01 Bumblebee from way back when, you'd expect the two of them to share parts. Well, I've looked at them both up and down, and I cannot find a single component that hasn't been altered in some way. And since the only bit of Bumblebee that transforms the same between both versions is the roof and chest, this really muddies things when trying to classify it as a new mold or a very extensive retool. I'm leaning towards the former. While we're measuring dicks here, two things become very apparent. First is that Rise of the Bumblebeasts is a far brighter yellow than we're used to in Studio Series. He's far closer in hue to Classics Bumblebee than anything else. It's not bad, but it does make him stand out a lot in a group shot. Second is that his paintwork seems really bare bones. I say seems because he does actually have some solid paint detail if you know where to look, but most of it is black, and the rest of it is hidden behind the bull bar, so it's too obscure to really notice. It's a shame about the lack of painted rims. To be fair, it is film accurate, but coupled with the bright yellow plastic, it just makes him look rather cheap. The jacked up suspension isn't doing him any favors either, as his arms are still at risk of scraping along the ground. The silver lining to that is that, unlike his predecessors, this alt mode isn't at risk of exploding. One thing this bee is good at is weapon storage. He isn't as comprehensive as his beetle-bound kin, but it's appreciated all the same. His sword clips into what will become his ankles, and his blaster latches onto the rear bumper in a way somewhat unintuitively. Once you get it, you'll get it, but it didn't make sense the first time. Maybe I'm just stupid? The benefit of engineering roughly the same transformation scheme over and over again is that, every so often, you get a little bit better at it. In college, we called this learning. If you've handled any of the Bayverse Studio Series Bumblebees, much of this will be familiar to you, but rendered much more simplistically. I mean this in the most positive sense, as it reduces so much frustration due to small parts or too many locking tabs. Thanks to this design keeping the big chunky boots from the Bumblebee film, this Bumblebee's legs are far more straightforward and satisfying to unfurl. I must say, besides maybe Off-Road Bumblebee, this is the most elegant transformation Bumblebee has enjoyed in all of Studio Series. Even though the Bumblebee film was originally meant to be a prequel to the 2007 Michael Bay film, he retained much of his cute, chubby roundness when he finally took on his Camaro alternate mode at the end of that film. I was happy to see the Rise of the Beast design keep in that tradition. In fact, I was quite happy with the overall aesthetic for all the film's robots, and this Studio Series figure renders it quite nicely. He's a smidge shorter than the premiere release of that line, despite turning into the same kind of car. Nothing about him is gangly. Trying to defocus the extra wide back kibble from view shows that he's quite a well-proportioned lad. Really, it's just the paint job that holds him back. Like in vehicle mode, he actually has a lot of paint if you know where to look, such as on his satisfyingly chunky boots and his streamlined Camaro chest, but the spottiness of the silver on his forearms, and especially his head, just leave him feeling unfinished. I understand that there's a running change variant that adds more paint to the face, so I guess keep your eyes peeled for that. B comes with some of the same accessories you'd have come to expect if you've been keeping up with the line all these years. A forearm covering blaster that is barely distinguishable from the one which came with Off-Road Bumblebee, and a completely unpainted sword that is backwards compatible with the aforementioned Off-Road Bumblebee, and barely compatible with the original SS-16 Bumblebee from way back in 2018. And likewise, his sword is just barely compatible with this release, and looks quite nice if I do say so myself. Bumblebee is gifted 16 dedicated points of articulation, 18 if you count the ankle swivels, and 20 if, for some reason, you count his wings, and they're all nice, tight, and buttery smooth. His right shoulder and waist joint are especially tight, to the point of being difficult to move. There's nothing too crazy going on here. His elbows and knees can bend only 90 degrees each, and the latter have a soft lock when straightened. The most notable aspect of this gamut of articulation is his ankle pivots, the deepest he's had since his Volkswagen form one film ago. Studio Series Bumblebee number 100 doesn't do a whole lot you haven't seen before. He's a very familiar release, with all the same transformation tricks and articulation that we've gotten time and time again. Disregarding Off-Road Bumblebee for a minute, as he's doing something quite different from the rest, I would say that Rise of the Beasts Bee is without a doubt the best and most polished version of this mold archetype. He cuts corners in a few places and kind of stands out in a bad way, but he just feels great in the hands and is overall very satisfying. As far as Studio Series Bumblebees go, this one is simply lovely. Then feel free to subscribe for more reviews like this in the future. If there's a figure you want to see me review, join my Discord server to make a request. For now though, there will be a poll going up at the same time as this video. Who will I review next? Studio Series Ironhide or Legacy Hotshot? I can't wait to see which one you choose. This has been Katastrophe, transform, and roll out.